All right, I'm going to be going through the UFC Fight Night that is happening on March 22nd, this Saturday. Leon Edwards versus Brady. We're going to be going through the entire card from start to finish, and I'm going to begin with the prelims. Starting off with the first fight of the night, we've got Guram Kutateladze versus Fernandes. I have Guram winning this fight. I think Guram's got the strength of schedule on his side. He's fought several different contenders in the lightweight division. He does have a unanimous win over Mateusz Gamrot. I do know that it's a bit of a different style matchup, but I think that Guram's going to be able to eat the shots that Fernandes is throwing at him and be able to move forward and win this fight in the style that he has. I do know that he has the ability to get hit quite a bit, so that is a bit worrying going against Fernandes. Fernandes had a good KO in his either his debut or his last fight where he was able to close it out in round one. So there is that threat there from Fernandes, but I do think that Guram's going to get the win. Next fight, Nathan Fletcher versus Caolan Loughran. I think that Caolan's got this one in the bag. I've seen Caolan fight several times, and the one thing I've noticed about him is he's definitely a striker. He tends to continue moving forward and has a very Irish fighting style. He doesn't shy away from the fight. He's always throwing hands, always making it scrappy. I do think that is going to serve him well on Saturday, but the one thing that I will say is in a lot of his fights I've seen, there's definitely a tendency for him to allow his opponent to get momentum over him. But the one thing that I love about Caolan's style is even when that momentum shift happens, he's always still in the fight and always makes it scrappy. I do think he'll be able to get it done on Saturday. Next fight on the card is Shauna Bannon versus Puja Tomar. I really don't know Puja Tomar that well. I think she has one fight in the UFC, and Shauna Bannon has several. I've seen Shauna fight several times. I think she has an interesting style, but definitely has a background in kickboxing, karate, I believe. She's always throwing a side kick every time I see her fighting. I think she'll probably close this one out on Saturday. Definitely, I'm going to go Ireland over India in this case. It's weird they got opposite flags, but yeah, anyway. Next fight on the card, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Andrey Pulyaev. I think that this one is going to go to, man. This guy has one win. Oh, that's got to be just UFC. He has one win in the UFC. Is that why it's 1-0? I think it's got to be. Should have went to fucking Sherdog or one of the other ones there. Anyway. I think Christian Leroy Duncan will get the win on Saturday. I do worry a bit, though, because I feel like when I've seen Christian Leroy Duncan fight, he's a great fighter, great skills. But I remember him, yeah, that's right. He lost to Rodriguez, which is not a bad loss. Rodriguez is a world beater. I just remember watching that fight and being a bit let down by his performance in that fight. I will say that was the same card where Bilal stole the belt from Leon, so it could have been a timing situation and maybe he just wasn't used to it. I do think that, on paper, in this matchup, Christian Leroy Duncan definitely has the edge in his favor, so I'm going to go Duncan on that one. Next fight, we got Marcin Tybura versus Mick Parkin. I'm going to go Mick Parkin. I think that Mick Parkin had a great win in his last showing. He was one of the ones that got a finish on the Leon versus Bilal card, one of the only ones who got the finish. So I also rate that his skill set is continuing to grow, and I think him training with the likes of Tom Aspinall and Tom Aspinall's dad, it's just going to serve him even more in this case. I do know Marcin Tybura he's one of those like dark horses of the heavyweight division who I think has a tendency to be hot and cold. Like he could get great wins over top 10 heavyweights and then also lose to, I guess lesser opponents in that regard. I think Mick Parkin, having the hometown advantage, showing out how he did in his last fight. Now, he was fighting Lucas Brzeski, who's I don't think has had much success in the heavyweight division. But I think Mick Parkin's going to get this one done. He's at home. He's also the underdog. I think he'll be able to find a kill shot that potentially hurts Marcin, and we'll see where it goes. I don't know if it's going to go and end in a finish or not, but I do think Mick Parkin will get it done. Next fight on the card, we have Loughran Kavanagh versus Felipe dos Santos. Felipe dos Santos is a plus 295 underdog. Yeah, I think, I was kind of back and forth on this fight. I'm really not sure. It looks like Dos Santos lost to Lima. He got a win over Alto Moreno, and then he lost to Cop. Those aren't horrible losses. Those are pretty skilled guys in that division. Kavanagh, on the other hand, looks to be he's 8-0. And I believe, because I don't know if I've seen him fight in the UFC previous. Okay, he has one fight in the UFC. But it's over a guy I'm not even sure I know. But him being an 8-0 fighter, there could be a benefit there. It could be this, he's an 8-0 fighter. He is fighting at home in England. It could... Nah, man, I'm sorry. I have to go Felipe dos Santos. Felipe dos Santos is 8-2, but he is a little bit bigger than Kavanagh. And... he also just has more experience. I think he's fought tougher talent, and in terms of their size, they're very similar in size. There's not much of a reach or height advantage. It's ever so slight. Oh, I guess the reach advantage is 70 inches in the favor of Felipe dos Santos, whereas Kavanagh has a 67-inch reach. I'm going Felipe dos Santos. Next fight on the card, and this is the featured prelim on the card. We got Jai Herbert versus Chris Padilla. Let's see. Jai Herbert is the guy that almost KO'd the one and only Ilia Topuria. Ilia ate that head kick that he thought was a punch and came back and dropped him like a dead body. Padilla, on the other hand, let's see what we've got here. Okay, Padilla's shown in his fights in the UFC. He's got a couple finishes, so... that definitely is looking good in favor of him. I think the one thing I have a problem with Jai Herbert's such a great fighter, but he has, it's the weirdest thing. Him and Leon Edwards, first of all, they almost look similar to me. Like, in the eyes, they have, a similar face. And I just think that my issue with Jai Herbert is it's he's very hot and cold. You don't know which version of him is going into the octagon on that night. This is a dude who knocked down and almost KO'd Ilia Topuria, which no one has even come close to that in the UFC besides him. And Padilla, I don't know, man. Padilla just looks like... Padilla is going to be a little bit smaller in all accounts, right? So you got a 6'1" Jai Herbert versus a 5'9" Padilla. The weight, they're going to be the same weight. 77-inch reach for Jai Herbert. Hard to say. I think I'm going to go Jai Herbert just based off of strength of schedule, and I'm going to have high hopes that because the time is not super drastic on this fight card, that Jai Herbert will have that advantage, be able to stay on the outside and win on points probably. But there's also that potential for getting a KO. Now, I will say, because Padilla is an American, I'm rooting for Padilla, but Jai Herbert is who I think is going to win just based off of the paper stats. Moving on to the main card. The start of the main card is Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charriere. This fight is an interesting fight. Dude, I swear, I love the English. There's a lot of English fighters I love, but I feel like they all have this tendency to be hot and cold. Nathaniel Wood has been in some bangers, and he's a great fighter. I love watching him fight. But I think that the other thing I've noticed with him is he's definitely got a size disadvantage when it comes to this weight class. He's not extremely tall. And Morgan Charriere, I remember him fighting Chepe Mariscal. He's a bigger guy. I mean, not in terms of like height, but he's definitely a stockier dude. And he's very skilled. I think that, I think Charriere is going to get this win, to be honest with you guys. I love Nathaniel Wood. I think he fights like a dog. He fights like a dog. Like a dog. Yeah, I think Morgan Charriere is going to get the win, though. Moving on. Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. This is an interesting fight, too. Jordan Vucenic looked great against his former adversary in Guram Kutateladze, who's actually opening the card. He looked really good there, and I think that he was a highly touted prospect going into that fight. So to see him have the success he had was definitely going to help him in his rise in the UFC. Duncan, on the other hand, I think, Duncan's had a few different fights in the UFC. He has a submission, one submission and one win by unanimous decision. I think Vucenic's going to get this win. Just based off of what I saw him do with Kutateladze and the success he had in that fight, I think he'll get this win, but it could be a scrap, and who knows, I could be dead wrong. Chris Duncan can get it done. Next fight on the card, Molly McCann versus Alexia Dainara. Molly McCann. This is another English fighter where I guess Paddy the Baddy and Tom Aspinall are the only English fighters that I know where they've been very consistent with the wins, right? Now, Paddy has some controversy on that side, so maybe Tom Aspinall is the only one. But I think in this fight, Molly McCann has the experience on her side. I don't know this other woman, but she has a 9-fight winning streak, and she's from Brazil. What I really want to see, though, is what is the difference in their sizes here? Let me see this real quick. And apologies if I'm not staring into the camera, guys. I'm looking at my iPad here while I do this. So, okay, they're both 5'4". We have a 67-inch reach, though, for Dainara. Yeah. It's a hard choice, guys. It is a hard choice for me. Where the fuck is the age? Because I feel like Molly's getting up there in age. Not in life, but in octagon time. Yeah, it's tough, guys. I'm gonna go Molly McCann just based off of I know her strength of schedule. I've seen her be very hot and cold. Fuck. There's just this weird thing. I just want to go for Dainara for some reason. I don't know what it is. I think I'm gonna go with Dainara, just because the last fight card, I feel like every time I was on the edge, I should have went with the edge, and I'm gonna go with Dainara. I could be dead wrong, but hopefully Molly McCann has a good fight. Next fight on the card: Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland. This is a hard one for me. I'm a huge fan of Kevin Holland, like anybody else. Definitely going to be rooting for him because he's a United States fellow. But he's had struggles with grapplers, but not necessarily in the welterweight division. I'm going to go Kevin Holland, man. I think Kevin Holland's got something to prove here. Gunnar Nelson's older than him. Kevin Holland's got the 6'3" to 5'11" height advantage, an 81-inch reach to a 72-inch reach arm length, reach advantage. In that regard, I also think that although Kevin's not a great wrestler, he has a ground game that he can fall back on, and I also don't think he has been out-wrestled per se in the welterweight division. Where he usually gets out-wrestled or kind of like manhandled is in the middleweight division. I think Kevin's going to get it done. Let's go Holland. Now the co-main event, and this, for me, honestly, guys, this is the people's main event, in my opinion. You've got Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. I've kind of gone back and forth on this. I want to say that Jan Blachowicz is a dark horse, one of the best light heavyweights of all time. What I worry about with Jan is just similar to what we saw with Stipe. There's a stark difference between being, 38, 39 in the cage and then 42, right? Now, granted, Jan lost his belt that he previously owned to Glover Teixeira, who was 42. But I think the difference there is I believe Teixeira was a lot more active during that time. He still had fights, up until he fought Jan for the belt. And that, to me, is the difference here. Jan not being in the octagon for a couple of years, coming off of a really bad surgery. I worry about that for him. The one thing that we have to say, though, is that although Carlos Ulberg is a finisher, he hasn't fought someone with the amount of experience that Jan will bring to this fight. Jan is so fucking experienced in the octagon. I mean, just look at all of his fights and look at... The other thing is, too, Jan's not necessarily a finisher. So I think that if Ulberg can't get Jan out of there in terms of, knocking him out, he can still win on points because Ulberg has that city kickboxing style where he could be landing the leg kicks at range, landing crispy straight, maybe a lead hook too, and that's a lead hook is his kill shot. I really have a hard time on this one. I think that Jan's craftiness as a veteran, his ability to land those leg kicks and he batters motherfuckers when he kicks them in the leg. I mean, look at Magomed Ankalaev. He couldn't even stand. He had to jump and try to wrestle him on the ground. So I think, just look at these stats here. You got Jan 29-10. And Ulberg's got 13 fights, 12-1. I think that Jan Blachowicz can get this win. I know he can get the win. Why does it say the rounds? I believe, don't quote me, I do believe that this fight is a 5-round co-main event, but I don't know for certain. So I think, actually, no, I'm probably wrong. It's a 3-round fight, I think. The Michael Chandler, Paddy Pimblett's a 5-rounder. I think, man, I'm kind of thinking Ulberg, guys. It's sad, but I want to see my boy Jan win. I'm a big fan of Jan. But I just think that when you compare their recent activity, recent life events, Jan's had an injury that's plagued him for the last couple of years, keeping him out of fighting. But like I said, Jan has that tendency to be able to pull from his bag of skills to close out and get wins, especially over competition that you wouldn't expect. And Jan has a win over Israel Adesanya, who fights with Ulberg, but I think that that's only going to be in the advantage. It's not, it helps Jan, but it also helps Ulberg, right? Because Izzy's going to be able to give him all that knowledge. I think Ulberg's just got youth on his side in this fight, to be honest with you guys. I hope it's a great fight, though, and I think Ulberg's going to win. Last fight on the card, Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. So I feel that this fight really boils down to, there's a few aspects here. You got Sean Brady riding the momentum of beating Gilbert Burns in a very convincing manner. But then you got Leon Edwards coming off of his loss where he may have a fire. Pull it out of the fire, Leon! He might have a fire under his ass to come out and get back that loss that he just had, which was a very embarrassing loss in his hometown. So Leon might be coming out with a fire under him to really close this show out. That's the problem, though, is you just don't know what version of Leon you're going to get. Leon has this tendency to, he has this beautiful striking, and, there's a lot of Leon fanboys. I think that Leon's an amazing fighter. I just think his style and his he's so gun shy at times when he needs to be on it and not gun shy. He needs to let him go. And I feel like that for me is very problematic, especially in this matchup, because you're going to have Sean Brady, who's got the Philly boxing, but he's got that wrestling too. And he's going to be kind of, deploying this or having the same game plan as Bilal, right? And he literally has a gold standard of watching Bilal dismantle Leon. It's the same. He can kind of use that as his game plan going into this fight. So I think that either guy has a chance to win, especially the fact that Leon's striking is superb. He has that ability to catch Sean Brady, especially Sean Brady kind of coming in on short notice for this fight. You know what? I'm going to say... I don't know. I really don't know, guys. I lean towards Sean Brady winning this fight. I want Sean to win because he's from the United States. By the way, I tend to have a blanket statement where I root for, if it's U.S. versus anything else, I usually just go U.S. because you have to. You should do that. Although I don't know if I felt that way about Bilal, but I think Sean Brady will get the win. But like I said, it's all dependent on what Leon's coming out. I'm kind of basing my pick off of, although Leon may have a fire under his ass, I do think that this type of style really throws kinks in his game. Because even when he fought Colby Covington, it was not a convincing and fun. It was not a fight where Leon went out there and went guns a-blazing. He did the same thing he always does, and I don't know if he's going to be able to change that this time around. But you can hope for that. And although I want the American to win, I hope that Leon can go out there and not be as gun-shy, land those shots that he can land. I just think that if he doesn't put Sean out, Sean's going to be all over him. And that's why I think Sean Brady's going to get the win. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please comment below your thoughts on my picks. Let me know who you think is going to win each fight as well. I would love to be able to engage with you guys there. And make sure you like this video and subscribe for more content. Thanks, guys.